Howdy Creek Squad, and welcome back for another deep dive, y'all. This time we're going to be taking a look at a song that's been making some waves. Ryan Upchurch's Everlastin Country. Upchurch, yeah. Lions know Upchurch ain't afraid to stir the pot. But this one goes a little deeper than that. It's about holding on to those roots, that down-home way of life, even when the world is trying to pull you in a different direction.
Well, I think what really gets me is how Upchurch paints these two different pictures, right? He contrasts rural life with that city life, and it's like he's asking you, which one feels more like home? You know what I mean?
It's like two different worlds, right? Like, on the one hand, you got those sun-baked rope swings and vision in the dark, and on the other hand, it's all coconut drinks with fancy names. It's like he's saying, this is who we are, and this is what we're losing.
It's not just the words, though. It's the feeling they evoke, right? Like the simple joy of a rope swing versus, well, the kind of pretentiousness of a fancy cocktail.
He does that with everything, though. It's not just the drink-loud Chevrolets versus Uber drivers, hometown girls versus downtown girls, bare feet versus red high heels. It's like Upchurch is laying out a choice, and he ain't shy about which side he's on.
And I think that's what speaks to so many country music fans, right? There's this longing for simpler times, a place where things move slower and folks are more connected to the land, and Upchurch just taps right into that.
One line that really hit me hard was, no camera, no lights, no cutscenes. It's like he's rejecting all that fakery, saying life ain't about showing off. It's about living it.
It's rejecting that pressure to constantly curate your life for the world, right?
Yeah.
Everlastin Country is about embracing the real, the unfiltered, the beauty of the everyday.
Makes me think of Waylon Jennings a little bit. Talking about doing things your own way, not bowing down to the expectations of the industry. It's that same outlaw spirit, that authenticity that I think resonates with folks.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a great comparison. Both Upchurch and Jennings are tapping into this deep vein in country music that celebrates the individual, the one who walks their own path.
Speaking of authenticity, how about those lines about fishing without a bobber and not needing a reservation in the weeds? That's pure country simplicity right there.
It speaks to that deep-seated desire for a less structured life, right? It's about finding joy in the simple things, not needing all the bells and whistles. Like Hank Williams saying, a mansion on a hill doesn't hold a candle to peace of mind. It's that same search for genuine happiness,
And it ties right back into that no camera, no lights, no cutscenes idea.
Yeah.
It's about stripping away the excess and getting down to what matters. It's about the experience itself, not how it looks to others.
Yeah, exactly. And in a world that's so obsessed with appearances, that message really hits home, I think.
One thing that makes this song special is how Upchurch keeps bringing it back to roots. Hometown girls, where you come from, reminding us that our past shapes who we are.
That's such a classic country music theme. Think about all those songs about small towns and dirt roads. The people who make those places home, Upchurch is carrying on that tradition.
And that's where Everlastin Country goes beyond just a song. It's about acknowledging the power of where humans come from. It's those deep connections that give us a sense of identity.
It's about carrying that place with you even when you're far away.
Reminds me of those old bluegrass songs where they'd sing about their home place, the mountains, the rivers, the folks they left behind. It's about belonging,
Yeah.
And speaking of those deeper connections, there's that line, 'cause the shine's more smooth where you come from. He's talking about moonshine, but it's also a metaphor, ain't it?
Oh, for sure. It's about more than just moonshine. It's saying the good stuff, the real deal, is found in your roots.
That authenticity we keep talking about. It's about knowing where you come from, appreciating what makes your place special.
It reminds me of Johnny Cash singing about a flagpole sticking out the ground. Simple, straightforward. But it tells you something about pride in your place.
It's those simple things that hold so much meaning.
Yeah.
And that's what I think ties into this whole idea of Everlastin Country. It ain't just a place. It's a state of mind. It's about holding on to those values, those traditions, those things that make life worth living.
Exactly. And that's a feeling that resonates with country music fans across generations, I think.
It's like that old saying, you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about what truly matters.
And in a world that's trying to pull us in a million directions, that's a message worth hearing. One thing that I find really interesting about Everlastin Country is how it ties into this long tradition in country music of celebrating the working man. The folks who get their hands dirty and build something with their own two hands.
Yeah, that's a theme that runs deep in country music. From the coal mines of Appalachia to the oil fields of Texas, it's about honest labor, taking pride in what you do and not being afraid of a little sweat.
You think about Merle Haggard's Workin' Man Blues. It's an anthem for folks who clock in and clock out, who put in the hours to make ends meet. And in Everlasting Country, I think Upchurch is tapping into that same spirit, you know, celebrating the folks who work the land, who fish for their supper, who build their own lives. It's about self-reliance, not waiting for handouts, but doing for yourself.
That grit and determination that built this country, it's something that a lot of folks feel like is getting lost these days.
And that's where I think the appeal of Everlasting Country comes in. It's a reminder of those values, that work ethic, that sense of independence that a lot of folks long for.
It's like saying, hey, there's still a place for folks like us. Folks who ain't afraid of hard work and who appreciate the simple things.
Exactly. It's about finding satisfaction in a hard day's work, in the calluses on your hands, the dirt under your fingernails. It's a different kind of satisfaction than what you find in a cubicle.
It's about building something with your hands, seeing the fruits of your labor, and doing it your own way on your own terms.
And you can hear that theme echoing throughout country music history. Think about songs like Johnny Paycheck's Take This Job and Shove It, or Loretta Lynn's Coal Miner's Daughter. It's about standing up for yourself, not letting the system grind you down.
And it ain't always about protest either.
Right.
Sometimes it's just about celebrating the dignity of hard work, like in Alabama's 40-hour week for a living, or Dolly Parton's 9 to 5. It's about the everyday heroes, the folks who keep this country running.
And I think Upchurch is adding his voice to that chorus with Everlasting Country. He's singing about a different kind of work, maybe fishing in the dark, hunting in the woods, but it's still about that same spirit of self-reliance.
And that spirit extends beyond just work, It's about living life on your own terms, whether that's cruising down a back road in a beat-up pickup or spending your evening on a porch swing with a cold beer.
Oh, absolutely. There's this sense of freedom, of independence that runs through a lot of country music, and I think Upchurch captures that beautifully in Everlasting Country. That line about cruising where the mud and asphalt meets, that's pure country right there.
It's about not being confined by the rules of the city, having the space to breathe, to think, to be yourself.
Think about those classic truck songs, Eastbound and Down by Jerry Reed, 6 Days on the Road by Dave Dudley. It's about hitting the open road, leaving your troubles behind, and just seeing where life takes you.
That same wanderlust, that desire to explore, Upchurch taps into that too. And it ain't just about physical journeys either. It's about finding your own path in life, figuratively speaking.
Yeah, and that's a powerful message for folks who feel like they're stuck in a rut, who are looking for something more.
It's about breaking free from the expectations of society and charging your own course.
And country music has always been a soundtrack for those journeys, whether they're literal or metaphorical.
Now, we've been talking a lot about these themes of work and freedom.
Right.
But there's another side to Everlasting Country that we can't overlook. That deep connection to the land, that appreciation for the natural world.
Oh, absolutely. That's a cornerstone of country music, isn't it? From the mountains to the prairies, from the rivers to the fields, the land itself has always played such a central role in country music.
You think about songs like John Denver's Take Me Home Country Roads, Alabama, Tennessee, River Runs Low, that sense of place of belonging, of finding peace and solace in nature.
And I think Upchurch brings that same reverence for the land into Everlasting Country. When he sings about those sun-baked rope swings and fishing in the dark, he's painting a picture of a life that's so connected to the rhythms of nature.
It's about slowing down, taking a breath, and appreciating the beauty of the world around you. It's a reminder that the best things in life are often the simplest things.
And I think that message is more important now than ever, in a world that's constantly trying to distract us with technology and noise. It's a call to get back to basics, to reconnect with nature, to find that sense of peace that comes from being in the great outdoors.
You hit the nail on the head there. It's about remembering where we come from, that we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
And country music has always been a voice for that connection, you know, that sense of wonder and awe at the natural world.
It's a reminder that we need to protect and preserve these wild places, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. And that ties right back into this idea of everlasting country. It's about leaving a legacy, passing down these values to our children and grandchildren.
It's about making sure that there's still a place for sun-baked rope swings and fishing in the dark for years to come.
It's a message that resonates with folks across the political spectrum, across generations, across all walks of life. It's a message of hope, of resilience, of finding common ground in our shared love for this land.
And Upchurch, with his unique blend of traditional country and modern influences, is speaking that message loud and clear to a whole new generation of listeners.
Now, we've been talking a lot about how Everlasting Country fits into this long and rich tradition of country music.
All right.
But there's another side to the story that I think is worth exploring. The man himself, Ryan Upchurch. He's a bit of a controversial figure, ain't he?
He is, and that's part of what makes him so fascinating, I think. He's not afraid to push boundaries, to challenge the status quo, to be himself, even when it rubs some folks the wrong way. And that's something that resonates with a lot of people, especially younger fans, who are tired of the same old, same old.
Kind of like that outlaw spirit we were talking about earlier, like Waylon and Johnny Cash. He's doing things his own way, and he's not apologizing for it. And that's what makes his music so raw, so real, so connected.
Exactly. He's not afraid to be vulnerable, to sing about his struggles, his triumphs, his heartbreaks. And that honesty, that authenticity is what draws people to him.
And you can hear that in Everlasting Country, too.
Yeah?
It's not just a catchy tune. It's a song that comes from a deep place, a place of longing, of nostalgia, of pride in his roots.
And that's what makes it so powerful. It's a song that speaks to the heart, to the soul, to that part of us that yearns for something real, something genuine, something that endures.
And for folks out there who are digging this sound, who are connecting with this message, I gotta say, Everlasting Country is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Upchurch's music. The man has a deep catalog full of songs that explore these same themes, that push the boundaries of country music, that make you think, that make you feel.
I couldn't agree more. He's one of the most prolific and innovative artists in country music today, and he's definitely worth checking out. So if you are looking for more of that raw, authentic, soul-stirring sound, do yourself a favor and dive into the world of Ryan Upchurch. You won't be disappointed.
Well said. And now, before we wrap things up, we got to give a shout out to our amazing Creek Squad. Y'all are the best, and we appreciate each and every one of you.
Absolutely. We love hearing from you, so keep those likes and comments coming. Your support means the world to us.
We're going to take a little break now, but stick around, folks. We'll be right back with more on Everlasting Country. All right, y'all, we're back and ready to keep digging into this whole idea of Everlasting Country. It's more than just a catchy song title. It's like Upchurch is pointing at something bigger. Something that goes beyond just the here and now.
It's like he's saying that no matter how much the world changes, there's always going to be a place for that down-home spirit, that love of the land, that connection to your roots. It's a pretty powerful message, I think, especially in a time when it feels like things are changing faster than ever.
Yeah, it's like he's holding up this mirror to the past, to these timeless values that have always been at the heart of country music, Family, faith, hard work, respect for the land, and passing those values down to the next generation.
You hear that in that line, "Dear young gun, go soak up the sun." He's talking to those young folks out there, encourage them to embrace that country way of life.
Like he's saying, don't let the modern world steal your soul. There's something special about this way of life, something worth holding on to. And that message resonates with folks of all ages, I think.
It does. It's this nostalgia for a simpler time, a time when life moved a little slower, when folks were more connected to their communities, to the land. And Upchurch taps into that so well in Everlasting Country.
It's like he's reminded us of what really matters in life, the things that money can't buy: love, family, community, a sense of belonging.
And those are the values at the heart of country music, right? Those are the threads that connect Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, and yes, Ryan Upchurch. It's about telling stories that resonate with everyday folks. Stories about love loss, heartbreak, redemption.
Singing songs that speak to the soul. Songs that make you want to laugh, cry, and dance all at the same time. And Everlasting Country does all that and more.
It does. It's a song that celebrates the past, but it also looks to the future. It reminds us of who we are and what we stand for. And it gives us this hope that those values, that way of life, will endure no matter what challenges we face.
Well said. Everlasting Country is a song that stays with you long after the music stops. It's a song that makes you think, makes you feel, and maybe even inspires you to live a little differently.
That's the power of great music, right? It can touch our hearts, open our minds, and connect us to something bigger than ourselves.
Well, Creek Squad, we've covered a lot of ground today, but we've really only scratched the surface of what makes Ryan Upchurch's Everlasting Country such a powerful song. There's so much more to explore, so much more to unpack. So we encourage y'all to give the song a listen, dig into Upchurch's catalog. Let us know what you think. We always love hearing from our listeners.
Absolutely. We appreciate your support more than, keep those likes and comments coming. And most importantly, keep the conversation going.
That's right. We're all in this together, folks. Now go on out there and embrace that Everlasting Country spirit. Y'all come back. Now you're here.